OG Frank Nitty. Nitty, what's going on, baby?
What's happening? What's happening, YouTube family?
How you been? Happy New Year's to you.
Man, Happy New Year to you too, man, and all the YouTube people out there.
Right.
As always, man, I start my campaign off, man, and ask y'all to help me free my brothers, man, Pork and Purple. Two real bloods doing real blood things. Without further ado, I'm supposed to be asking questions tonight, so I'm excited. Let's get to it.
Well, we was gonna start with questions. Then I'll before we start with the questions, let's get back to your life story. I think that people want to hear more about your story than the comments that people leaving and stuff. You know what I mean? We'll get back to that later. But now, let's get back to more of your story. I know on the last we left out about the time that you got, and you was in penitentiary, and before you started to come around to reform, you was, I think you said you were like 7 years in.
Yeah, about 7 years in.
And the stories you can tell me of something that happened in penitentiary, you can think about, you know what I mean, start us off.
Well, about 7 years into the penitentiary, it was kind of unheard of guys giving their time back. So it was like when you know a guy and you make a friend with somebody, you like friends with that person pretty much for life, right? Because you had no one else, you know, outside your little circle or whatever. So, but I noticed a lot of guys was dying, not because they was getting killed, they were just dying, right? Like from being old and poor health and you know, and I started saying to myself, man, is this gonna be my fate? Because I mean, it's nothing to talk to somebody knowing that you went to bed and you holler him across the tail, up the tail, and hey boy, I'll see you later. And then you look out your cell and they at his cell and they taking your friend out in a body bag. You got so many questions and you won't receive very little answers about it. Cause for anybody know, you don't know if he gave up or he got some news that he couldn't bear, or man, have he been sick lately? And it's like it's a bunch of questions that go through your mind when that type of thing happened. It's like I didn't have friends of mine. Excuse me for a second. So I didn't have friends of mine that had strokes in the penitentiary. Excuse me. And in the course of that, when I would see a bunch of police by his cell, I would immediately get worried. Because the first thing would come to my mind, here's another one of my friends gone. So this is kind of when I first started thinking about, man, do I get set to die in prison or do I try to find a way out? Now, of course, every young dude, first thing they say, man, shoot, I'm escape. But let me tell you, I'm at least speak for the state of Maryland. It ain't a lot of, I'm gonna call it what it is. It ain't a lot of black guys escaping, right? All the history of guys escaping being all white. So, with that said, I knew I didn't know anything about escaping. So the only thing I could think of, I said, man, well, maybe I can get out through the courts or something. So I ran into a guy, I'll never forget him, man. He's deceased now. But one of the sharpest guys I ever met in the law, a guy by the name of John Booth. He was so smart that they gave him a classroom in the penitentiary to teach other inmates and prisoners the law. And so when I started finding myself going to that crossroad of deciding what was I going to do for my life, I remember coming into this classroom and sitting in the back really didn't understand anything he was saying, right? But it was because I couldn't understand it is what motivated me to start coming more. Because I felt like it was a weakness of not knowing this. So I started telling him, I said, look, man, I'll even pay you at the class. Just teach you what you know. Teach you what you know. So we had a little arrangement for a while. And it was with him where I started getting the motivation to want to win my freedom back. You know, cause I know that at trial, I know I wasn't given a fair trial, and you literally had people coming in there, and I'm not claiming to be an angel and anything like that, but in the same token, you had people coming in there in straight line. I mean, you got people that I'd never seen before in my life. Was nowhere near, and the stuff that they were saying was impossible. And I may or may not go into that later, but it was such a horrific experience, you know, going through that. So getting back to when I first started feeling like, man, I was at that fork in the road, and I started going to these classes. But what really motivated me, that I started finding out things like most congressmen, most senators, you know, and things of that nature, all started as lawyers. Some even, we didn't even had a couple of presidents that started as lawyers. And man, I see the stuff that they do, and I say, man, they're so good with it, and they're so sharp that they have took power of the laws. I said, to the point that they not only govern the laws, but they make them. So whatever they know that they do, they say, okay, this is okay. But if it's something that they know they don't do, and it's not commonplace for them to do, the first thing they say, hey man, hey, that's worst crime in the world, man, and we're gonna punish you like it. And so I started seeing that, because as I was coming up as young, I used to look at things as, you know, black and white, you know, as far as race. And said, man, we getting such a raw and ugly deal, man, because, man, we so far behind. And then when I started learning the law, I said, wow, well, this is the first thing I ever come across that's not based on race. Unlike a lot of people would think. The law is not. The law is about who knows it the best. And who knows it the best, who dedicate themselves to it the most, that's normally the people who prevail. Now, getting into that, because like I said, I know that I spoke on the violence in the other episodes, and some parts it will come up to this, but not now. And one of the things that I've always been good at is that when I engaged in something, I threw myself in it completely. I mean, 100%. So the same way that I embraced the game and surviving on the streets that led me to prison, I also dove into the law like that. And man, I never forget it, that once I seen that, wow, somebody could get tricked out their life with words. I said, man, that's powerful. Like, I said, they actually talk people into taking a plea to life. Like, you saying, okay, man, I'm getting ready willingly allow y'all to put me in a cage like a German Shepherd or a Labrador Retriever or something for the rest of my entire life. And I'm willing to do that. I'm good with that. And the first thing makes me want to say, man, what fucking hope did this person have as a human being? Because the first thing I would think, man, that to know that you willingly allow something like that, to me, I would believe that that person doesn't believe that that he or she has any purpose in life. And that's the best way I can say it. But it's things like that, like I said, I dedicated myself. So I started going to the law classes. And while a lot of other guys was running to the yard and to the gyms and stuff like that, I was running to the law libraries. Because everything I did, I threw myself into it completely. It was one of the things that I did, something that when I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, I used to sit by the door because we had cell buddies, but they had tail lights. And I would sit by the door and read law books all night, and to the point that I fell asleep. But I was so determined to learn something that I didn't know. I was so determined to do this because I knew that it would keep my sanity. And see, a lot of time people because you can hear a sentence like the one I had and say, man, how the hell was he thinking? What was he going through? What was his mind thinking at the time? And to be completely honest, I never accepted it. I've never accepted it because, for one, it was too much time for any one human being to do. So I never accepted it. But I knew that the way I got it, that the people had cheated. But then I learned while I was in prison that instead of agonizing over the misdeed that somebody has done you, now you had to prepare an offense and a response. And therefore, that is how I embraced the law. I studied it day and night. I won countless LPs and even changed a few things. I won lawsuits against the Maryland DOC. It's almost funny now, but what'd you say, bro?
You did the paralegal court. We were in the cell together when we did that together.
Right.
The paralegal court.
This is one of my little brothers that's still incarcerated and coming right now. Introduce yourself, bro. Cabo.
Yeah.
Go ahead and introduce yourself. You on air?
You already know, man. I'm S. Capo 20. Repping that ENHB. You know, saluting all the real right soldiers, and you know, gotta get the word out, man. That it ain't over till it's over. You know.
Absolutely. It's about progress and growth. Yeah, and
that's all we got left.
one of the things that I did, what my little brother just reminded me of, I also, to tell you the story as it began, I ran into a lawyer by the name of Daniel J. Wright. Very good one and a very dear friend of mine to this day. And I was, man, at a time that I was so desperate to get out because I have started seeing so many of my friends die off. And it was almost like I felt the Grim Reaper hand on my shoulder, like saying, man, you next. And so the more I felt that, the more determined I got. And I, at the time, I had written 102 lawyers, asked them, would they take my case pro bono? This was only after I had written every law college in the country, asked them, would they just take my case on as a class project and just give me the results? Couldn't get no takers. So the 101st lawyer, it was a female. She said, well, I'll take your case, but I can't take it right now. She said that she had other cases. I said, okay. Thank God for this. When the following week, I got a letter from him. He said, hey, let me take a look at your case.
So excuse me, Nitty. So how long was you in prison when you started to get this news that there's this possibility?
Well, I had jumped forward a few years about that, but we'll be able to go back and bring it up to that though. But the reason I'm saying this, because this man, when I first got it to him, he said, let me take a look at your stuff. So I sent it to him. I said, hey man, I said, he said, did you do this? And I said, yeah. He said, wow, that's probably one of the best ones I've seen come out of prison, right? I said, well, thank you. I said, well, look, I don't want to start off lying to you. I said, man, I had multiple cases, but the one thing is they made the same mistake in all my cases. I just had different trials and different juries, but I had the same judge and the same state's attorney. He said, that's impossible. I said, well, it happened to me, sir. He said, it's impossible that a judge made the same mistake in multiple trials each time. I said, well, he did. He said, well, I'll tell you what. He said, if you can prove that to me, I'll take all your cases. I'll never forget this. Because we always sit back and laugh about this. I sent them to him. Huh? Oh. So I sent it. I sent it to him.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Well, Gay, bro, look. I love you. Yo, like I said, just hit me up. And like I said, I'll be at y'all hopefully Friday. All right?
Yeah, all's well, bro, man. Keep your head up, man. Diggy, happy New Year to all of y'all out there, man. To the family.
Well, happy New Year, brother. Same to you.
Man, we gotta, it's all about moving up, man. It's all about having a productive year.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
Yo.
Keep our mental up, man. Spread the message. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, dove love, bro.
All right, bro. Eastside, dub love.
I said my love to everybody, man. 20 minutes, man.
All right, Sap. So, I forgot where I left off at, but one of the things that I remember is that that's all I wanted to do after I found out that's where the real power was in the law, right? And it was a dude, a white guy, I'll never forget him. Unfortunately, he's deceased too, by the name of Chris Conover. And he said, man, why wouldn't you think the law was in? He said, why wouldn't you think the power was in the law? He said, the law is in everything. And I sit back and thought about it. I said, wow. I say, he's right. Like, medical, sports, you name it, contract, whatever it is, the law is involved in it. And so I said, wow. So it became that point that it felt like I developed a hunger for it at that point. Because now I wanted some of the American pie, as they like to say. I wanted a piece of the American pie. And because that's all I knew, was to conquer, right, coming up. That's all I knew was to try to, you should never be satisfied with today. You should always try to make tomorrow better, right? So, and that's the kind of the attitude that I have. And then I just learned and learned. And after a while, I started working on guys' cases. Excuse me. And I started working on a few guys' cases, and I was winning. I was doing something to my surprise, and then I started trying to. Well, I ain't tried to, opened up a law class because I was trying to give back because of the guys like John Booth and a few other ones that had really, paid the way for me and taught me the law. Because the one good thing that they did with me, he said, I tell you what, he said, I'm going to teach you the law. He said, but I'm going to teach it to you so you can understand it. And so he compared everything about the law to the streets and the prison. And it's like, I got it. Soon he did that, it's like, because, for most people know that the law is mainly in Latin, which is a dead language. So it was like he taught me to understand it like this. And then I went back and got another guy from up in New York. I think I mentioned to y'all once before. The guy said that I looked at his pictures as a kid, and when he was growing up. I said he had a graduation picture and everything since the kindergarten all the way up to college. And then I got him to teach it to me the book smart way. And man, that's all I did. Like, nothing else mattered more to me than that, right? Nothing else mattered more to me than that. And so getting back to the lawyer, like I said, when I sent him and showed him that the case was the same, I never forget it. He took my call and he laughed. I said, hey, how you doing? He said, well, as I told you, he said, I'm a man of my word. He said, if I told you, if you can prove that to me, he said, I'll take them all. He took all my cases. And I still worked. I still helped him. I still, I'm like, hey, man, don't forget to put this. Don't forget to put that. Because being turned down for an appeal is something that, for the people who don't understand it, is probably like losing a loved one. Because you have so much hope. Like, man, I did my best. My lawyer looked like he did what he's supposed to do. And this gonna be the one. And to hear them people say, read, considered, denied. That's it. No other explanation. You just put your heart into it. No other explanation. I was shot down for an appeal 10 times before I won. Because I knew that I couldn't be denied, because to me, it was my life. It was like I was fighting for my life. I knew that if I didn't win this, I was surely going to be one of the people who I watched be taken down the tier in the body bags. And I was determined that that couldn't be me. So he was so impressed by the stuff that I used to send him to say, man, you might want to, this argument might help out too. He said, you know what? He came to me one day out of the blue on a visit. He was telling me about another young lady who he had helped, right? She was actually going through a tough time with her husband, and he was beating on all this old stuff, right? It was bad. And so he ended up getting her in school and things like this. So when he got in school, her first thing, she became a legal journalist. That's the first thing she graduated as. Now she's an attorney, right? And it was so amazing. He was telling me about a story, and he was so excited when he would come to see me on the visit, because we wasn't even talking about my case. He was so excited and so proud of her. He said, man, he said, he was telling me about, he said, man, I'm on my way to a graduation now. I said, wow. I said, man, I wish, man, but it wasn't a con. It wasn't me really trying to shoot my shot. I was like, man, I wish I had a chance like that. He said, that's why I'm up here to talk to you. He said, if I put you through school, he said, will you go? I said, yes. What you think? I'm going to say no? Yeah, twice. Right? So I never forget it. So he put me through school as a paralegal. Right? So I got all these courses, and even with him, he would have these papers from all the top law colleges around the country, and papers that a professor might have wrote. You can get them offline, right? And one of the things was he had me to study these papers and give him reports on them. Until I started learning the law more and more and more and more. But I want to save some time before I tell y'all, so we can touch on a few questions that y'all been asking. So
I want to.
Well, you want to touch on the questions?
No, well, I want to let you finish. Then we get to the questions and stuff.
Okay.
If you finish, if you're
All right.
done, if we
Yeah,
done,
I'm
we can
done.
go to the questions and stuff.
Yeah, I'm done. You go into the questions.
So I just want to know, how has things?
First of all, introduce yourself first, then get to the
Oh,
questions.
how y'all doing? I'm Kay. Happy New Year to everybody out there. I have a few questions I'd like to ask.
Sure, shoot.
Wondering, I've been listening for a minute, so I'm wondering, how has things changed you mentally since all of this?
Well, in a sense, it desensitized me to a lot of things, right? And that's not something I'm proud of, because I really wish I could feel stuff more than I do. But for those who I do feel something for, I am sincere in my feelings for them. How did it, as far as it changed me from then to now? That's what you mean?
Yes.
Well, like I said on one episode, patience. I'm saying this also. It taught me to look at the malice in life, right? When people see, I used to be so mad because I say, man, this guy know what he was doing, or this girl knows she playing games, but I started seeing that, hold up, they really just ain't know, right? But because my mind was so programmed to the game, the streets and stuff like that, I kind of thought everybody felt like that. Well, everybody thought like I did. But that was the farthest thing from the truth. So, it's taught me, definitely taught me patience. It taught me, like from then and now, it taught me to really enjoy life. I realized beforehand, before I went to prison, I didn't get to enjoy my life, right? I went to places that I guess people consider as fun, but I didn't have fun per se. So it taught me to really appreciate life. It taught me to appreciate a child's laughter, right? Like for everybody else, they so used to it. Like this, like my phone. Man, I could be on this phone sometime for hours because it's still fascinating to me. Because just when I think, okay, I got the hang of it, it's like 20 more things I don't know about it, right? And so that's one of the things. That's one of the good things, if it is a such thing as a good thing with me being gone as long as I have. The world is brand new to me. It's like I'm a kid at a toy store. The world is so it's so brand new to me. Like to see some of the stuff that they got, and like a funny story this morning, because I haven't got some of the toys for one of my granddaughters. Right, it's only one thing, and it scared the hell out of me because the damn teddy bear light up and it say, "Okay, let's go," and I jump back. I said, "What the hell is that in there?" Right, and I forgot I ain't got a damn teddy bear, but I was moving a bag that I had at Grego Contour, and the shit lit up and said, "Okay, let's go." I jumped back. I said, "What the hell is in there?" I was ready to kick the bag and everything. I'm saying, but it's really fascinating, right? But it's really fast also. Like every day, like people might think that, okay, you look like you handle it. Man, it's a catch up every day. So every day it's like it feel like I'm catching up. And man, to imagine my first time going to the everything, hit everything with a card, and And I felt so bad. My first time I lied to you, I panicked. I left the stuff at the counter and left. Because I didn't know how to work it. So it's life feel good right now. It feel good, like, man, like, I know it's probably gonna be people be making the comments and stuff. Probably gonna be people hating it or what they call them, ops and all this other stuff. Hey man, look man, go ahead man, be an op to yourself, man. You know what I mean? Leave me alone. For the people that's hating. Man, hate on, man. I ain't nobody putting nobody out of job. So that's just where I'm at now. So that was a good question.
So you would say you're more appreciative of your
A lot
your
more.
freedom and, you know, everything that's going on now.
A lot more because I'm allowed to challenge myself now. You know, I don't have to sit down there like people think I work every day. Somebody think like I work hard too, right? So a lot of people think, well, what are you doing for a living? Working. And for all of y'all who don't know, feel free to drop some of my Cash App. It will be at the end of the subscribe. So my whole thing is, yeah, I'm very appreciative now. I'm like, I wake up, like, it's hard to be in prison and wake up looking forward to the next day. Because you got so little to look forward to. Like, I wake up in the morning now, like, people understand, they be like, man, you be still waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning? Because I can't wait to get up, right? Because I said, well, let's start my day, let me get out there and do my thing. Because the possibility is endless to me. So, that's how I feel. I'm very appreciative. You know, I'm very appreciative for my second chance, and it done been temptations and people always jumping out there and stuff like that. But man, if it's situations that now that will allow me to walk away from, hey man, let me go then. You know what I mean? Cause one of my homeboys said something real slick. The last thing I tell you, he gave his time back, and he got a nice little piece of money for it. And so one guy was mugging him. We was at a restaurant. The guy kept on mugging him. He said, man, shorty, what's going on? I said, man, you look like this nigga I beef with. He said, beef with? He said, shorty, I'm rich. He said, matter of fact, all my friends rich. He said, man, hey, look, whatever you got going on, you go ahead and stay there, man. And he bounced. And it was like, life, and this let me know that life was so good for him. Like, man, you talking something that's going to change my whole lifestyle. And that's how I kind of look at things now. And no, I'm not rich, so ain't nobody put the duct tape down, right? Put the duct tape down, I'm not rich. You know what I mean? I work every day, right? So, that's how it is. You know, I just really enjoy myself. I enjoy getting to be sitting here and interview you. That I had a life that people would find interesting. You know, so I'm appreciative of it all. You know, because one time I was telling E, I said, man, the things that I thought was normal, people like, wow, he did that, he did this, he did that. I thought this shit was normal. It was like, man, let me go to McDonald's in the morning or something. You know, it was normal. So, but it's a life that I know it made me who I am today. So a lot of people, they want you to say, man, I'm so glad I'm a changed man. No, I'm not. I'm an improved man, right? But I'm not a changed man, right? I still have my flaws, just like all of you.
We all do.
Right? And I look at things like, hey, like I said in my last episode, I don't think life is picking on me. So, and I know that every day if I want it, I gotta go out there and get it. And that's the attitude I get up there with every single morning.
Would you consider yourself being a mentor to others or just young men?
I'm gonna say this. I could be a mentor only to those who want to be mentored. Because, see, and that's how I be thinking people they make these comments and I always go back and say, he ain't learned nothing. Well, one, you don't know me, but okay, that's cool. Your type's your opinion. But you want me to kind of be an example for something that you're looking for. And I say, you want to say, well, he went in there and look at him now. He come out there. No, I'm more improved, right? Would I sit in there and say, man, if I need to eat, not my family need to eat, I'm gonna get it how I live? Mm-hmm. No, because I now know it's other ways, right? But you're talking about an almost child transforming to a man over the years. So people that say that is, like I said, it's just their opinion. But I like the question. What's your next question? If you got one.
I do.
Okay.
How has it all to you affected you, far as family, a love life?
Well, good question. Well,
Thanks.
Your family, they need to know how to take you because you're a completely different person than who they remember, right? Because your values don't change overnight, and something as small as a box of Debbie's might have been important to you. They looking at it like you lost your mind, and in most cases that's how they're gonna look at it. But you're looking at it, hey man, I don't want nobody to take nothing from you, because that's the mentality you had to have in prison. But far as your family, you gotta get used to them. They gotta get used to you. It's like you're gonna have your arguments here and there. You're gonna have your fusses, but that's where the real love comes in. That do you love me enough to be patient with me, to bring me up to speed, and do I love you enough to take your criticisms without getting angry at you? Unfortunately, me and my wife couldn't do that. And because it's a situation like, and I wasn't running wild or anything like that, but you've been dictated to for 30 years. Go eat this time, use the bathroom this time, take a shower this time, this, that, use a phone. The light's gonna be on for a certain amount of time so you can write a letter to your mother. You don't want to keep being dictated to once you work so hard to regain your freedom. And that was one of the things that we continue to bump heads with. But as far as your love life, and then it makes you hard to trust, right? And you can see a girl say, wow, man, she pretty, man, and I like what's on her mind, I like how she look. But it makes you harder to trust because you say, man, if I was down bad, would you be there for me? And you looking at it like, no, you wouldn't. And you kind of go into sometimes self-sabotage mode. You start doing stuff that you know that in your mind you're trying to test her love, but in her mind she's saying, oh, this nigga don't give a fuck. And it keep on bumping heads, and instead of y'all getting on the same page, it is eventually y'all just break each other's necks like rhymes. So that's how I get, right? So it's hard on it, but it make you what they call it, anxious to be the right one. It makes you anxious to be the right one, right? Because you said, boy, when I get it, boy, I know it's gonna hit me, and you looking like, boy, I know it's gonna hit me, cause like I think now maybe I have a different concept of it. But a lot of times when women say that you sleep with them, okay, we had a relationship, right? I'm like, okay, well, could you at least have told me? So, you know what I mean? I could have changed my ways or something. But then you get mad with me and say, oh, you cheated on me. How? Why did he know we was in a relationship? So, it's that thing. So, you got to really, you got to be patient with women. Then, women have to be patient with you. Like, ladies, let me tell you, it is not easy dealing with a man that has been gone for any extended period of time. However, it is a pot of gold at the end of this rainbow. Because once you show him okay, I'm gonna be patient with you to do that. And patient don't mean you tell him something one time and then get pissed at him if he asks you again, right? That doesn't mean patience. But you really because you have to really wrap your mind around this. You're almost like you're raising another child. Because you teach your child what to do when they little. You had to teach this man again what to do, how to exist in this world. That's not easy. So, and some women say, oh, I pass that by. But you'll pass this by saying, like so many men and women, I won't make it seem like I'm bashing women, but you believe that, okay, the grass is green on the other side. And then that guy end up treating you twice as worse. And guess what? The guy that you should have had patience with, at least he got an excuse for it. He didn't know no better. This guy know full well how he gonna carry you, how this gonna affect you, and do it anyway. So think about that one.
All right, you got time for one more question, then we're gonna end it. Any more questions?
Yes, one more then. So, where are you spiritually now?
Spiritually, I'm gonna say this. I don't claim one denomination, and the reason why that is not because I'm an atheist or anything like that. I really do believe that it's a high being. I believe that's how I was delivered back out here, right? Because I did a lot of praying, but I prayed to the person that's in charge. It sounds funny. It might say, "Oh, he blasphemed." No, I'm not. I don't want to be. So many people call the higher being all these multiple names. Allah, Jehovah, and everybody, and no disrespect to any religion, I want to say that. And I always thought this, man, what if you get up there and you wrong? He said, man, that ain't my name. Said if you tell me my name, you come in. What you gonna do? I said, man, but they taught me this all like. So I just say, hey, man, the creator, he or she, make sure I'm politically correct. He or she who is in charge, please hear my prayers. And that's what I say. So that's where I'm at. I'm not making fun of the question. I'm not making fun of religion. But it'd be funny to me because I always thought of that like, yo, what if you're wrong? Because everybody will take you back to sacred scrolls and this and that, a book of this, a book of that, book of that, the dead scrolls. They'll take you back everything. I don't know who's right because I done read so much of that stuff and that I'm confused, but this is how I know that I believe in a higher power that I fear. Like if I do something, I say, boy, I don't do that, boy, I might somebody have about that. I fear anything I fear, I believe in it. So that would kill anybody thinking that I'm an atheist or anything. No, I'm not. I'm just, I don't want to make that mistake.
Understandable.
Hey, that's about all the time we got, y'all. Until the next episode, part 7. Thank y'all for watching. Remember, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, comment, keep them coming also.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss K, for the interview. We appreciate you. Nitty, you got a
Peace.
cash app you want to leave in?
Yes. OHTF. OHTF 20. Sometime I gotta remember it.
I'm going to leave it in the description of this video also.
Okay.
And plus, anybody with business inquiries, I'm going to leave my email address in the description of the video also. If you got any business inquiry, hit me through my email and stuff. And also, Unique Mecca, want to know if you be interested in doing an interview with Unique Mecca Audio.
Tell my publicist is going to be getting back to him shortly. I'll just talk to him about it today.
Hit me in my email so I can get the information to his publisher, and then his publisher will contact you.
I'm going to ask a question I didn't ask.
Unique Mecca.
Okay.
That's that.
That's
it.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks.
Peace.
God bless.